Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be the Best of Beauty 2017. I figured instead of just showing you my favorite products, I can apply them to my face while I talk. Okay, so for primers, I have two that I was really into in 2017. One of them a little bit more than the other. The first one is the Morning Aura moisturizer from the Victoria Beckham and Estee Lauder collection or collaboration. I do work for Estee Lauder, but this is a product that I found out about later on in the year, despite the fact that it was released in the first collection. This is just a really glowy moisturizer that I like to apply before my actual primer, but you can use this as a primer. It has illuminating like particles, so your face is glowy, you're healthy. I loved it in the fall when my skin was kind of in limbo. It is such a great just pick me up. You do have to be careful, you can't apply too much, otherwise it can look a little disco ball-y. But it's such a great moisturizer. I think if you have dry skin, you would love this. Makeup artists love this because it's just so beautiful on skin. And if you're wearing like no makeup, this just lets your skin radiate from within. But the primer that I'm going to use today, and the primer that really blew me away, was the Fenty Soft Matte Pro Filter Primer. To be quite honest with you guys, I'd always been a little indifferent about primers. I have what I would consider normal to oily skin, and nothing really like wowed me aside from the Becca Evermatte the Evermatte primer in the little brown bottle. But I've noticed that as I've gotten older, that primer, A, it leaves like a grayish cast, and B, my skin has just not been reacting to it pretty well. It used to be my favorite primer, but I don't know at one point, but my skin, it just looked like flaky. It wasn't doing great things for me. This one, however, feels like a moisturizer, which is what I love about it. It doesn't leave my skin looking gray. It doesn't leave my skin feeling dry. It is just an all-around amazing primer. My foundation lays beautifully on top of it. Foundation. Now for foundation, again, I have two products that I was really enjoying that I'm going to mention in this video. This one is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation in the shade Mahogany. I picked this one up and I did a haul video, I want to say. And then of course, Fenty Beauty. This is the Pro Filter Foundation, and I am in the shade 440. Now, these two alone are absolutely amazing. The one downside I would have to say with this one is the scent. It does smell like peaches, so it's a little bit annoying, but it's not anything that A, causes me to break out, or B, is too annoying and cloying. Like, it goes away after a while. This foundation, I just love it. The coverage is beautiful. It looks like skin, but my skin looks flawless. It doesn't feel thick. It's not heavy. It's not cakey. All around, this is a great match for my skin. I think this is one of the few foundations where I don't have to mix it. And sometimes I will use this one as like a mixer for certain other foundations, like the Huda Beauty foundation. I like it, but I don't like how like thick it is, so I will use this one to make it a little bit more emollient. I have mixed these two together for what I consider the best base of all time. This foundation lasts all day. It lasts all day. So Too Faced, while I hate the scent, I do love how like the longevity of it. The color is okay. It works for me, but I do have to darken it up with bronzer. But when I mix it with the Fenty, absolutely gorgeous. So today I'm going to do just that. I'm going to mix a little bit of both. Bam. Overall, I just like how my skin looks. It looks like skin. For concealer, I discovered so many concealers that I'm in love with in 2017. So there are three. The first one I would definitely say took me by surprise. This is the ColourPop No Filter concealer. I'm in the shade Deep 70. This one I do not use as like an under eye brightener. I rarely highlight underneath my eyes. I like it to look like skin, get away a little bit of the dark like the dark circles. I don't like to draw attention to my under eye area because I have dark circles, so I like to just use a concealer that looks like skin and just creates a flawless like a flawless under eye area. This one is really good for that. It's like $6 I think. It looks again like skin. I like my foundation and my base makeup to look like skin. I don't want it to look like I'm wearing makeup, and this one's perfect for it. I use this to spot conceal if I have any blemishes. I've used this on days where I literally don't wear makeup because it is the perfect match. So I'll literally just put it on the under eyes, spot conceal, and then I'll be done and my skin looks great. This is one of the few products that I'm actually really running low on, and I want to get a backup, but I have so many concealers that I'm not purchasing it just yet, but it's such a good concealer. I think they could do to expand the shade range, simply because there are only 15 shades. And the next concealer is my Tarte Shape Tape. This is the most raved about, hyped concealer of 2017, and I bit the bullet. I purchased it. This is another one where they could do to expand the shade range. I'm in the shade Deep, and this one I do use if I want to brighten the under eye area. But what I like to do is I mix this one with the ColourPop, because I find that this one, it does brighten, but again, I don't like to draw too much attention to it, but it creates such like a flawless base. Like, it is thickums. That's the only thing I do not like about this. This is a thick, so I like to pair these two together just to make this one less thick and easier to blend. But I do like this if I want, like if I'm going for full coverage, like heavy glam, that is the one that I go for. But my baby, my best concealer of 2017, I think one of the best releases of 2017 is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I'm in the shade Hazelnut, which I think is a newer shade in the NARS shade range. It comes in a pot. Mine looks kind of disgustor, but when you think of a matte concealer, you typically think of something that is thick, it is uneasy to blend. This is not that. This one, it is matte, but it's not drying. It doesn't settle, it doesn't crease. It just feels light as a feather. It is a great color match for me. Like, I just love this. This is another concealer that I would wear on my like no makeup days, and I feel super comfortable with it. I love this concealer. It is just the best. The only thing that I don't like that is in a pot. I hate pot products. But like, if you just see how flawless my under eye area is after using this, you too will fall in love. Just look at how flawless my face looks. Like, my under eyes, it's like wet bags. There are no bags. It brightens up a little bit, but it's not like an aggressive, like Instagram under eye brightening situation. I can take a photo and not look like, you know, she applied something there. I don't like that look. Okay, so for powders or translucent setting powders, I do have to set my under eye because, you know, your girl is getting old and there are some lines and they be creasing sometimes. So I did fall in love more with, I did fall in love with translucent setting powders in 2017. Now, my ride or die in the past has always been the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, but I found a couple of new ones. Your girl found new ones. Some of them have been recent releases, but the ones that I've been using consistently throughout the year like completely blew me away. One of the first ones, this is the Beauty Bakery Flower Setting Powder. This is in the shade Yellow. This took me forever to try to find because it's always sold out. But this one is a yellow-based powder, but it's not too yellow, so it doesn't look kind of crazy and stark underneath the eyes. It is such a fine powder. I can bake with it. I can actually set all over my face without being worried that I'll get flashback. This is just such a great product. Jackie Aina turned me on to this one, as most of my products. I love her for that. It does not let me down. This one is also a shocker. This is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Setting Powder. That peach collection really did a good job with Too Faced. This one is a peachy tint, but it's not, it doesn't leave any flashback. It doesn't look pink under the eyes. It doesn't transform any of my makeup. It sets my under eyes beautifully. The only thing I don't like is the catch, like, instead of having a sifter, well, it has a lid. It has this lid that is supposed to protect from product fallout, but if you accidentally tip too much product, it doesn't close. So that's one minor annoying problem that I actually ran into last night. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but in all, I love that setting powder. I think Too Faced did an actually amazing job. It does smell like peaches, but again, it goes away after a couple of minutes. This one came out in December, and I'm so happy I got it. This is the Patrick Star and MAC setting powder. It has a pinky tint to it, but again, it doesn't look pink under the eyes. And I think it's so woman of color friendly. I know a few people were kind of nervous about it. Would it look crazy under your eyes? Would it, you know, make you look ashy? And it does not leave me looking ashy. I don't get any flashback with it. I think Patrick Star did an amazing job. If you are thinking about getting it, I highly recommend on picking this one up from the collection, simply because, again, I can set my under eye with it and not worry. I don't bake for too long. Like, I'll put it on and then maybe do my brows and then I wipe it off, but it's not something that I'm going to leave on for like 5 minutes or so. I use it primarily just to set my under eyes, so great job with this one. But I think my holy grail setting powder of 2017 has to be the Ilia setting powder. This is the Fade Into You translucent powder. Ilia is a brand that not many people talk about, and I think simply because it's smaller. It's an all-natural beauty brand, and you can get it at Sephora, but because I think they're smaller, they're not as well known, people tend to sleep on their products, but it is such a good powder. It's so finely milled. It is white, but it doesn't cause any flashback. And when it sets your makeup does not move whatsoever. Moving on to brows. My brows are a constant struggle. I've accepted them. I suggest you guys accept them. I will never have Instagram brows. Well, never say never, but on the road to getting there, these two products have been my lifesavers. These are the Benefit brow collection. In all, the Benefit brow products I think are bomb. I like their little Ka-Brow, the one in the pot is bomb, but the two that have been doing me justice are the Precisely My Brow, which is this long skinny one, looks like a little rocket ship. This one has a very fine pencil similar to the Anastasia Dip Brow, so I like to use this to trace out my brow shape and then go in and fill them. It's a soft pencil. It doesn't look ashy on me. It doesn't tear off my brow hairs. I've tried using the Anastasia one in the past, and I found that like it would pull out like small strands of brow hairs because the pencil was so dry. This one I don't have that issue. And then of course there's the Benefit Goof Proof. This has the slanted angled tip, which is perfect for filling in the actual brow. So sometimes I'll trace and create the shape, and then I will fill in with this. Alright, so this is, my brows are like, again, struggle city. One is always thicker than the other. I can't fix it. Another product that I loved when it comes to my brows, this is the Benefit. This is the Glossier Boy Brow. When it first came out, I didn't get the hype, and then I started using it, and now I have like 7 backups because I love it so much. I do use it when I fill in my brows as kind of like a setting gel because it's not crunchy. It doesn't leave my brows feeling stiff. It deposits a little bit of color, so sometimes if I use a lighter brow pencil, I'll go over this with this just so it's dark. But I like it because my brows aren't crunchy. It doesn't leave my brows feeling stiff, and my brows last. I even use this on the days where I don't fill in my brows because it does have color in it, and I'll just go over the brow hairs and then, you know, work on the tail a little bit, and it looks like I filled in my brows, but not an aggressive brow fill. You know, it's not Instagram brow, it's more like real girl brow, which I can get behind. So I am a Glossier rep, but I purchased them like before I became a rep. If you guys are interested, not to pimp out my coupon code, but I do have a promo code with Glossier. If you've never tried it, I will leave that link below. That way you guys can kind of play around. When it comes to bronzers and contour, I'm not an aggressive contour person. I like my face to have a little bit of definition and a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? definition. CoverGirl Queen Bronzer. I don't necessarily contour with it because I'm not, again, a heavy contour person. I use this along the perimeter of my face, define my cheekbones, and it is perfect. Now this could be too red for some people, and it has like flecks of sparkle in it, but it's not an aggressive shimmer, so I don't mind it. This is actually my favorite bronzer. It's a little hard to find, so you can get it on Amazon, but I find that when I'm looking for it at the drugstore, I could never find it. I thought it was being discontinued at one point, and my heart literally sank. But if I am feeling contour heavy, or happy, I have been loving the Fenty Matchstick. This is in the shade Espresso. I don't necessarily like the lighter shades to conceal because I feel like these are very dry, but when it comes to contour, this is absolutely stunning. Absolutely beautiful. Because it is a dry formula, I'm able to manipulate it how I want. Most cream contours I find are too emollient, and then blending for me is just an absolute nightmare. But this is a dry formula, so it stays put, but it's easy to blend. So I definitely love the matchsticks to contour, not necessarily to conceal. Alright, when it comes to eye makeup, I feel like I'm all over the place right now, but let's roll with me. When it comes to eye makeup, I feel like 2017 was the year of palettes. Palettes, 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 that's all I was buying. It was non-stop. And there were some that I rediscovered, some that are new to me, some that were new releases, and here they all are. The first one, this is the Urban Decay Naked Heat Palette. I think this is one of the best naked palettes that they've ever come out with. It is unbelievably cohesive. All of the shades work well together. They work well alone. I feel like this is one of the first naked releases that was just really well thought out, and all of the shades here can be used. Another palette, I feel like 2017 was the year of like red toned palettes, and this is the Smashbox Cover Shot Eye Palette in a Blaze, and this is what it looks like. This is super mini. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 shades. Somewhat reminiscent of the Urban Decay palette. I feel like this is a shrunken down version of that Naked Heat palette. It's super small. I used to throw this in my makeup bag and just go. You can create so many different looks. You can get something smoky, you can get something neutral and everyday. Bomb. Very good if you're looking for something much smaller and more compact and more travel friendly. The Nubian palette by Juvia's Place. Holy moly. This eyeshadow palette, again, are you sensing a theme? I'm very much a warm tone eyeshadow person, and this one just gives it to me. It is absolutely beautiful, so pigmented. Juvia's Place is almost always having a sale, so you don't have to purchase it full price. You can get so many different shades, so many different looks. My absolute favorite shade has to be this coppery shade right here. It doesn't have a name on it, but it is absolutely beautiful all over the lid. My next eyeshadow palette is the Yes Please Cute AF. I never know what this one is called. This is by ColourPop, so it's super affordable, and it's just so gorgeous. But my absolute must-have palette of 2017 surprised me because it came from NARS. This is the NARS Loaded palette, and I got this in the beginning of the year. They sent it to me when it was released, and I only wore this eyeshadow palette literally for like 3 months. This was the only eyeshadow palette that I would dip into. Ooh, I'm blinding you. It has some of the most gorgeous warm tone eyeshadows you have ever set your eyes on. Unlike a lot of their eyeshadows, these are super pigmented. They're soft. They're easy to blend. I feel like in the past, NARS eyeshadows haven't always been the best. No shade, I'm just being real. But they completely turned it around with this palette. When it comes to eyeliner, there's one that ruled them all, and this is the Victoria Beckham Estee Lauder. This is the Eye Kajal. There are several different shades. I've completely run out of my black one, Another one that I fell in love with was the Saphir, which is technically a blue eyeshadow. I mean, a blue liner, but it's so deep and rich that it can pass off for black. I've worn it just to add a pop of color on my eyes. That's a little bit unexpected. We're just going to throw it on for this one, even though I would typically use a black liner. This is just the softest Kajal pencil you will ever come in contact with. I don't know if it's still available. It was part of the collection, which was limited edition, so I'm so sorry if you can't get your hands on it, but this is just the absolute softest pencil. I have really watery eyes, and I never tightline, and I don't really ever put stuff in my waterline. This is the only pencil that can go on my waterline without making me cry. For mascara, there are two that ruled my life, and they are the Maybelline Lash Sensational. This is the Luscious one. So this is the one in the black tube and the pink, obviously. I know the Lash Sensational has like many different mascaras underneath that like franchise, but this is the absolute favorite. It is a very, very wet formula, so it can get clumpy pretty quickly. My absolute favorite mascara, however, has to be the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir Mascara. It kills me to love this one simply because it's expensive. I think it's like $28, but it has a very thick wand, but the bristles capture and coat all of your strands, all of your lashes, and it makes your lashes look thicker, longer, more voluminous. Absolute favorite mascara. It kills me that it's so expensive. I purchased quite a few in the Sephora VIB sale that we had, simply because I just needed it in my life. Like, it's such a great mascara. If you don't. For blush, there are two blushes that absolutely ruled my life, made my year, and they are these two bad boys. This is the Marc Jacobs Air Blush. This is in the shade Night Fever and Hot Stuff, which on my skin tone is just the most beautiful, plummy, rosy pink blush ever. It's quite deep on camera. I feel like because there are so many lights, it's coming up much lighter. It's deeper. I think if you have dark skin, you would absolutely love this blush. There are different shades within the Air Blush formula that I actually really, really enjoy. This one just so happens to be the one that I wore all the time. It is a very soft blush. It's pigmented, so you can only, I would say, start off with a little bit and then go a little bit, then add more if you want, but this is just so gorgeous. I don't try to pick one or two shades. I just put my brush in there, swivel it back and, or swivel, run it back and forth, and then apply it on my cheeks. This just imparts the most gorgeous flushed look, if that makes sense. I think it's stunning. It is one of the best blush formulas out on the market. One that I fell in love with, this is Estee Lauder Pure Color Envy Sculpting Blush. Now, when I got these, I was just kind of like, guys, why are we not talking about these more? This is just the best blush ever. This is in the shade Wild Sunset, which is a more of a corally, it's a corally orange blush shade with a hint of shimmer in there. This reminds me of NARS Orgasm, but flattering. I'm not a big fan of NARS Orgasm, to be completely honest. I feel like it's not pigmented enough for my skin tone. This is stunning. I just like to take a blush brush. This is the MAC 129 and tap that in. It is a very soft powder. It's pigmented, so you can, I would say, start small and then layer up like with all blushes, but this is just such a gorgeous blush formula, and I'm always just kind of like, why are we not, look at that, like, why are we not talking about these more? Like, and because it has like some shimmer in it, it looks like highlight, so I'm just kind of like, this is bomb. This is just the best shade on deep skin. If you have dark skin, get this now. Like, pause this video, add this to your cart, and then come back. There were quite a few highlighters this year. A lot of highlighters. I'm a big fan of highlighters. I went a little crazy with a lot of them. But when it comes to the ones that I found myself reaching for the most, Ta-da! Fenty. Surprise, 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 surprise. These are the Kilowatt Duos. This is the shade Moscow Mule and Ginger Binge, which is a pink and like a plummy highlight. So this one I use more of a blush topper. So what I would do is I take my brush, put it on top of my blush if I want to enhance it a little bit more. So I typically will use the Estee Lauder one with this blush. With this highlight. And then same thing with the Marc Jacobs. It's just the perfect blush topper when you want like a rosy, like flushed. I might have spent some time out in the snow, but my skin is still healthy. And then this one is in the shade Mean Money and Hustler Baby, which I think is one of the most popular shades that Fenty has come out with. So the left side is the more subtle highlight, whereas this side, the right side, is more of the bam, semi sort of metallic but not chunky, if that makes sense. This is my favorite highlight of 2017. Absolutely adore it. Rihanna knows what she's doing. So I'm just going to take the shade Hustler Baby and I'm going to apply that on top, only because yesterday I did Moscow Mule and Ginger Binge. Look at that. It is the most gorgeous gold highlight. Unbelievably flattering. I would normally use a fan brush, but I don't know where mine is. Look at that. This is just stunning. Okay, I put too much. Alright, when it comes to lip products, I feel like there are way too many for me to get into. There are different types, there are different formulas, lipsticks, liquid lip gloss. There are just so many. So I'm going to give you kind of like the highlight reel of my 2017. The first of which being the Silver Bullet, the Lipstick Bullets solid lipsticks in and of themselves. Fell in love with the Estee Lauder ones. I know, I work for them, so it's coming across as if like I'm just pimping out my brand, and it is kind of self-serving, but hear me out. In January of 2017, I really actually discovered the Pure Color Envy lipstick range. To be quite honest, I've been working there now for 2 years, and I never really, this sounds so bad, I never really wore Estee Lauder makeup, but the lipsticks are really what converted me and made me want to explore the product closets a little bit more. These have some of the creamiest formulas I've ever experienced. I don't know why people aren't talking about them more. Yes, I love the NARS Audacious range. That will always be one of my favorite lipstick like franchises, but I feel like this is a close second, and I've quickly made my way to collecting almost all of them. Whereas these apply very, very smoothly. They are pigmented as all hell. My top 3 shades when I'm looking at color, this is Decisive Poppy, which is a red. This is, I think, one of the best red lipsticks. So good. It's not like really bright, but it's up there. It's such a great red. And then there's a Volatile, which is an orangey red. And then one of my personal favorites, this is Neon Azalea, which is the world's best bright pink lipstick. I love this during the spring, summertime. And then when it comes to nudes, there's Intense Nude, which is a pinky nude. It's more on the pink side. This is not a matte lipstick. This one is the Sculpting. So it's super creamy. And then there's Raw Edge. This is a matte. And this is more of a brown nude. I did do a video, plug, I did do a video on our YouTube channel that you guys can check out. When it comes to glosses, I feel like I mentioned this gloss last year also, but it's still one of my favorites. I purchase it constantly, and this is the Marc Jacobs Enamored Lip Gloss in the shade Love Drunk. It is the best lip gloss formula ever. Hands down. Love Drunk just so happens to be my favorite shade because on me it's like the perfect nude lip gloss, but there are so many different shades that I'm sure you could find your favorite like one. The formula on this is it's not sticky, it's not too thick, it's not gloopy, it's not gloppy. I don't think if those are any of those are words, but this is just one of the best lip gloss formulas ever. More recently, I think I've fallen in love with the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. It is perfect. I think it's one of the best lip gloss shades out there, or lip gloss formulas. It does have like a hint of pink. It's a hint of rose. There's like the shimmer in it, but it's not bad at all. I love this. This is always in my purse. Always, always, always in my purse. I think this is one of the best formulas. These two glosses like are my life. This is it. If I'm reaching for a gloss, I'm reaching for one of these. And then for liquid lipsticks, I feel like brands have been coasting for the past couple of years when it comes to liquid lipsticks. I use them. I like wearing the ColourPop. I've worn Kylie. I've worn Anastasia. And in the past, I would have probably said that, ironically enough, the Kylie Cosmetics has been my favorite formula. But that all changed as of like Thanksgiving when I took my behind to Sephora to pick up Stunna. This, like, I definitely have to say Fenty Beauty has been like the brand of the year for me because I like her products. I like Rihanna's products, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Rihanna stan. This one I like because it is a true red. It is a somewhat liquidy formula, and it doesn't dry out my lips. It doesn't make my lips feel cracked. It doesn't make my lips feel parched. It does transfer because it isn't it doesn't dry down to like a flat matte, so it will transfer, but it still stays on. Like, I feel like it doesn't transfer as bad as a lip gloss, but it's not like the Kylie or the ColourPop ones where you put it on and that thing like sticks on your lips and it's like glued down. And I like that. I feel like it doesn't have to, we don't need to have liquid lipsticks that just dry down and dry out your lips. So that's why I like this. I like the applicator. I like how I'm able to apply the lip color in one go. I have pretty big lips, and most times I'm always like dipping back in and all that jazz. It seems like a very small thing, but when you find a liquid lipstick that just works for you, like the tiniest details matter. And I really, really hope that Rihanna and Fenty Beauty just expands this with more shade ranges, because I would die for like a beautiful like brownie nude. I would love a beautiful hot pink for spring, summer, like an orangey. I think they could take the Stunna lip paints and just knock them out in terms of color range. So highly recommend Stunna lip paint by Riri. I'm thinking a nude lip for today, so I'm gonna go in with Raw Edge that I talked about earlier. Look at that. And then I'm just going to take the Fenty Gloss Bomb and just make my lips look juicy. Ta-da! Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's going to be like 10,000 hours long, so hopefully I'll edit down under 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I hope so. Let me know what you guys thought of my favorites. Let me know what some of your favorites were. I'd love to try it out. I am trying to be on a no-buy because I went a little ham last year, but we'll see. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And there goes the sounds of New York in the background. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye!